Work it out, we're on the boat. It's about 9 o'clock in the morning. Sunday the 20th September, and we're going sailing. Incredible tides flowing. Some of the highest tides of the year. The engine's only just on tick over really, and we're doing 6 knots, 6 miles an hour down the channel. Just look at this boy. It's making it very difficult to steer. Anyway, we're going out. The wind is from the east, which is very rare, and that allows us to sail south. So we're going to do our usual trip down to Hale Sands Port, and then we'll decide what we're going to do. We may go south, we go to Norfolk, we go to Wells or Brancaster. Probably won't go to Blakeney. But we'll see. Lovely day. Good breeze as well. Bit of a problem. We've gone aground. There's home. We didn't get very far at all. There's home down there. The speed of the tide was so fast I couldn't steer. The boat was going sideways. And then the wind is blowing from that side and it's blown us onto this mud bank here. It's not a problem. It just means instead of sunny wells, shops and the beers and chips and stuff like that, I'm sat on the mud at Stone Creek. But got lots of food. Kettle on. Not particularly upset at all. See the skid marks? But that's the beauty of this boat. It doesn't matter if you go aground, because you can just sit and wait for the next tide. You're quite safe. You're not going to fall over. You're not in any danger at all. So, there we go. If you haven't seen this before, this is the mud of the Humber. Look at all the grass that's growing in the middle now. Loads of it. Been here about 6 hours now. The tide has just begun to turn. It's got to rise 5-6 metres to get up to the boat. Unfortunately, the tide tonight is 400 lower than it was this morning. So we may not float tonight, but tomorrow it's the same height as it was this morning. Now, I've had plans to walk out there and put some anchors. The trouble is the mud is extremely soft, so I thought I could make up some like snowshoes. Yeah, put my feet in there and walk across the mud. If I get covered in mud, I've got no means of cleaning myself off, and I'd have to sit covered in mud until the water came back and get washed, cold and wet. So it's probably more dangerous than beneficial. But anyway, tide's coming back. We've got another 6 hours or something. I've never eaten so well, or slept so well, or rested, or relaxed so well. It's quite something. Tide slowly coming back. Beautiful evening. Right, it's 6 o'clock. The tide should be here about 9 or 9:30. So what I think I should do is eat, have a proper dinner, let that digest a bit before top of the tide, because I may have a lot of work to do. Oh, he's gone. There's a seal there. Every time he pops down, he ends up 20 yards further down. It's quite a current flowing even now. So it's coming back slowly. We've got, was it 6 o'clock, 2.5, maybe 3 hours before the high tide. Right, I have to do something now. I've got to put some anchors out the back. So like catch anchors, so that I can pull myself backwards. So what I'm going to do is take the anchor from the front there, bring it way down the side here, and chuck it as far as I can over there. It won't go far, but it'll be something. So that when we do break free, if we break free, will still be held in position, because I don't want to go drifting off miles down the river again. So that's the plan. I can't video it, I don't think. Okay, so the tiny little anchor I've got. Beauty of it is I can actually throw it further. It may not do a lot, but any help. Are you ready? Go on, anchor. Ready? That goes there, that goes there. 1, 2. Oh, that's better. Got some very muddy rope at the end of this exercise. Yeah. Okay, as much as we can do. We need to eat now. Good couple of hours yet. First 2 tins I pulled out of the cupboard. One is baked beans and sausages. Used to love that as a kid. Not quite sure why that's on the boat. It's not something I eat these days. And a tin of stewed steak. So I think we're going to have the stewed steak. I mean, the cupboard is full of food, but yeah, stewed steak will do. Okay, stewed steak. Keep saying okay, I don't know why that is. I suppose it is okay. If you've got a cat, you'll know exactly what this looks and feels like. See the view through the window? Water's coming back. There's the rice. Yeah, squeeze it in there. That's it. I'll turn it down a bit. Incidentally, I haven't told you before, this isn't the proper cooker for the boat. I did a gas test on the proper one. Wow, that was an eye-opener. So this was just one I had lying around in the shed. It's the oldest one I've got, but it passed the gas test. Wow, look at this. The time it takes you to eat a tin of stewed steak. Tide has come back. Where have you been? You know, man has not invented, or has not built, or cannot build a machine or pump that can move as much water as the tide does naturally twice a day. The speed this water is moving is phenomenal.
Hachi, good evening.
Tide's going so fast, the boat is moving, so I'm going to start the engine as a safety precaution. Power on, ignition on, that's off. Check, there's water coming out the back. Yeah, water out the back. See the speed is going past the rudder. That's the wash from one of those passing ships. They're more than a mile away. We're out in the Humber. It's very, very dark. There's a lot of traffic out here. I counted 13 ships earlier. There's a large ship there with 3 tugs, one whizzing past. Pride of York behind us. There's loads up ahead, and I want to cross over, which is a bit of a problem, but I'm in no rush. Now I've got the engine going at sort of half speed and we're only managing 1.6 knots. The tide is still whizzing in. I can't understand how I got afloat 2 hours before high tide, yet VTS was telling me the tide was below prediction. Very odd. Anyway, pitch black. We're out here on our own, except for the shipping channel. And we're relying on the GPS to keep us on course. Home's about 2 miles behind us now. There's the north bank, not a single light on the north bank. There's the south bank. No, it doesn't pick it up. You can see some lights over there. Ships, lights, loads. Back there, that's Immingham, all those lights. And way back in the distance out of the cluster. That could be Hull, not sure. There's the sunk spit buoy. We're only about 30 yards from it, and even in the dark I can tell there's a very strong tide running. We're chucking away here and we're 2.2 knots. That's it. Right, we're going to ask VTS now if we can cross over. VTS Humber, sailboat Horizon, over. So I've just passed the sunk spit and the ferry has passed. I'd like permission to cross over to a line Burcombe, Pie Wipe, if that's okay, thank you.
Your horizon under that set or question what's your best speed?
Normally it's 5 knots, but there must be still a strong tide running tonight. I'm managing 2.5 at the moment. Over.
And all understood, your horizon, thank you. I'll advise the anyone around that and vessel and your intentions if required.
Thank you, sir. Crossing now.
Thank you, sir. Window onwards.
Can you see this? I haven't touched the engine at all, so the engine's going at the same speed it always has, and it was just struggling to make 2 knots half an hour ago, and now it's 3.65. That means the tide has turned, or we're coming to the top of the tide. What's at the top of the tide? We should be able to do 5 knots on a night like this. We're going so slow. We're going so slow that VTS Humber asked us to take a different route. There we are, big ship past us over there. South bank. I think that's Grimsby there. That's Cleethorpes over there. I've just been called up on the radio by another vessel out here. Took me to channel 10. They want to park up, because I'm going right through the anchorage at the moment, the Hawk anchorage. They want to park up alongside a vessel that's up front and asking how I was going to approach. Well, what I've done is I've moved to the north so he can come in from the south. I don't know where he is or who he is, but it was very nice to be called up and asked. And he knew I was struggling to make progress, so it shows they've been listening. Right, there's been a change of plan. We're now going to Spurn. I'm really struggling to make progress against the tide. The tide has changed, and we're still only doing 4.8 knots. We should be doing a lot more than that. So what we'll do, we'll go to Spurn and rest a few hours there, and then decide. I may have such a good rest, I may still be there in the morning. Doesn't really matter, does it? So, we're going through the anchorage. There's a ship, I doubt you can see it, with the lights in the distance. That's a ship in the anchorage. And I don't know where this other chap was. I got the impression he was behind me. There's 1, 2, well, there's quite a few vessels behind me.